What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, keeping you up to date on all the latest wrestling news, all the latest rumors and reports coming up. We're rounding up everything that went down on this week's Monday Night Raw. One of the champions suffered an injury. WWE fires back at AEW. Latest news regarding WrestleMania next year now that things are going to be going back to normal. Wrestlers shot down some rumors. A top star ready to come back and in top shape, and more of the latest. So to continue being up to date, make sure to have those notifications turned on. And of course, for even more wrestling, consider subscribing to both of our channels. Before talking some Monday Night Raw, we got some news to get through. Now that WWE is going back on the road, there is a big question of whether or not WrestleMania next year is going to be a two-night event, like it was during the pandemic era. And it looks like wrestlers want it to be that way. Fightful Select reports indicates that multiple wrestlers have advocated for WrestleMania to stay a two-night show, pointing out how the crowd at this year's event stay energized both nights of the big event. 2022's WrestleMania 38 is currently on the calendar for only one night, that being on a Sunday, but the company hasn't ruled out making it two nights the normal thing for WrestleMania. So again, now that WWE is gonna be back on the Raw, they got an interesting decision to make. Onto some other news. At Double or Nothing this past weekend, Dr. Britt Baker defeated Hikaru Shida to become the new AEW Women's Champion. It was a move that a lot of us wrestling fans expected, and it looks like even WWE knew it was coming, so they decided to be a bit shady in one of their Instagram posts. The folks behind WWE social media team almost certainly knew it was coming, so they decided to put an interesting post. Over the weekend, they ended up sharing Nia Jax squashing a local athlete during her Monday Night Raw debut, and of course that local athlete that she was squashing and facing off against was a younger Britt Baker. This was of course WWE celebrating Nia Jax's debut. It was her birthday weekend, so it didn't come out of nowhere, but they could have used somebody else to showcase how dominant Nia Jax has been. The post ended up getting a lot of backlash, as it seems like WWE is taking more of a mocking to AEW, and as a matter of fact, it's a mocking to one of their WWE superstars' girlfriend, that being Adam Cole. So a bit odd for sure. As we got to see though at Double or Nothing, AEW kind of had their own type of thing, as they had Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson basically mocking the Shield, with Matt doing the whole Roman Reigns gimmick. So I guess we continue to get some friendly competition between both of the companies. Onto some other news. There has been a lot of reports indicating that WWE is not planning to have Eva Marie wrestle on Monday Night Raw whenever she debuts. But that doesn't seem to be the case, because she went on social media to shut down these rumors of her quote-unquote not wrestling again. This week her video had a big focus of her training to get back into the ring, into action, and afterwards she took to social media to show that training video and indicating that it was for the clowns who said that she is not coming back to wrestle. Well, good thing that she is training, and I hope that she been training and not just started right now. And just a quick reminder that Becky Lynch is in top shape and she is ready to come back whenever Vince McMahon gives her that call. We talked about her potential return being when the audience is back, and that's coming up in a couple of weeks already. And as we can see in this photo shared by her husband Seth Rollins, she continued to train and get ready. It looks like she's no longer in the gym, now she's also in Seth Rollins' wrestling school, getting ready for that return. On this week Monday Night Raw, we had the United States Champion Sheamus facing off against two opponents and losing to both of them, but we're not gonna get into that backwards booking right now of him losing twice and him being a champion. What we are gonna talk is about him suffering an injury during one of those matches, as Sheamus ended up getting banged up by Humberto Carrillo. Sheamus, though, he is a fighter, so he kept it going, but according to PW Insider, he did suffer a broken nose on this week's Monday Night Raw. It was confirmed to be a 100% broken nose. He will only be out of action if WWE requires it, but this is something that he can still work through it, so he doesn't have to take time off if WWE really want to continue showcasing him as we head into the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. We will have to see if WWE WWE decides it is fit to make Sheamus sit out of action for a couple of weeks, but for the time being, it simply seems like he's just gonna heal off and continue being on television. Now, as for what went down on the Monday Night Raw, so first off, we had Sheamus coming out and of course bragging on his continued dominance as United States Champion, all of which lead to him having two matches. Ricochet first defeated him, ultimately with the interference of Humberto Carrillo, who faced him up next. Humberto Carrillo went on to defeat Sheamus after a bit of a bloody match. Personally, I was not a big fan of this whole segment, but this is just a typical WWE. This is one of the main problems that creators have right now, especially when it comes to Monday Night Raw. It feels like on a weekly basis, most of the champions are ultimately taking the biggest L that they could take until finally we get to the pay-per-view where they actually manage to win against their opponent. Was it really necessary for them to have Sheamus compete in two matches tonight and actually lose both of them? It doesn't matter that he lost due to interferences. That's not the point. He's the United States Champion. You should be protecting him a little bit more, and he's a heel, so he could get away with a lot of things, whether it is counted out, disqualification, not listening to the referee, or so on. The one good positive about all of this though is that of course they're actually putting Humberto Carrillo and Ricochet on television and actually giving us some of the younger talent in there, so good thing that they're actually building some type of storyline with it. But again, Sheamus didn't need to take two L's in one night. As for what else went down on this week's Monday Night Raw on the May 31st 2021 episode, to start off the show we had a 21 Miss TV segment to set up a 2-minute match. Definitely sounds like Monday Night Raw. Can't wait for Friday so we can get some enjoyment out of SmackDown, because Monday certainly makes it feel like it's an eternity to get to that. Nonetheless, the Miss TV segment featured Charlotte Flair. She was interrupted by Rhea Ripley, who then was interrupted by Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross proposed that after their match at Hell in a Cell, she should be the one to challenge the winner for the Women's Championship. This got me excited because this means that WWE is going to keep using Nikki Cross. The segment set up a 2-minute match challenge for Charlotte Flair, much like what we got to see against Rhea Ripley last week. Rhea Ripley of course forgot about the timer, so Nikki Cross was able to pick up the victory, and tonight Charlotte didn't forget about the timer, but Nikki Cross was going back and forth with her, mocking her, kind of running to the outside of the ring, so she survived the 2 minutes against Charlotte. We had Randy Orton defeating Xavier Woods in a really good match. Randy Orton actually used Matt Riddle's finisher, the Bro Derek, to win the match. We had the acrobatic match between Reginald and Shayna Baszler. Reginald actually picked up a victory. Why? I don't know why. But we got some Alexa Bliss interference in this match once again, as we got some crazy fire pyro by the corner, distracting Shayna Baszler. This led to Shayna Baszler taking out Reginald in the backstage and confronting Alexa Bliss, letting her know that next week they're gonna have a chat because she is not too happy that Alexa Bliss continues to interfere in her matches. We had Mace and T-Bar defeating the Lucha House Party. Sheamus went on to lose the two matches that we just discussed. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke defeated Naomi and Lana, with the reigning WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Natalya and Tamina getting a front row seat to this match. This week we had Cedric Alexander getting the best out of Shelton Benjamin in one-on-one competition. AJ Styles and Omos defeated Elias and Jackson Ryker. In this match we saw the breakup of Elias and Jackson Ryker's tag team, a tag team which honestly, I said it at the beginning, it was not a good pairing. Just go with Elias as a singles act. He does good, give him an actual push. And I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with Jackson Ryker now. He wasn't doing too well by himself, so who knows. Anyways, the phenomenal one and Omos picked up the victory on this one. Oh, by the way, this was a Raw Tag Team Championship match, and obviously it didn't even feel important. And then for the main event, we had a heck of a match, much like Randy Orton versus Xavier Woods. Drew McIntyre versus Kofi Kingston was a banger for the night. No interference on this one. Both of these guys just went at it, giving it their best fight. A lot of near fall on this one. Towards the end, we got a Trouble in Paradise, Drew McIntyre using a rope break, and then we had Kofi Kingston getting caught in mid mid-air with an awesome Claymore kick. And that was the end of it. So we got Drew McIntyre taking on Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell. Anyways guys, that is all the latest. If you enjoyed, found it informative, don't forget to elbow drop it and hit those notifications. I'll catch you on the next one, so stay savage.